Welcome to Wine Workshops. My name is Linda Gaines. Today we're going to talk about sparkling wine. There are many different ways to make sparkling wine. We're going to focus on two of them, the traditional method and the tank method. The traditional method is what's used to make champagne and cava, and that involves taking a non-sparkling wine, putting it into a bottle, adding some sugar and some yeast, and having it undergo a second fermentation. So that means that the yeast eats the sugar, and that's what creates alcohol, but it also creates carbon dioxide, which is what gives you the bubbles in the sparkling wine. So once the yeast is done eating the sugar, it dies off, and the wine is allowed to rest sitting on that dead yeast for months to years. And that introduces flavors of bread and yeasty notes into that sparkling wine. Once the wine is ready to be sold, it is uncorked, the sediment and dead yeast are expelled, and then it's topped off and recorked, and then it's ready for sale. The traditional method is a very labor-intensive process, and so these wines tend to be more expensive than some of the other methods that are used. The tank method is used for making Prosecco, and that involves doing that second fermentation in a stainless steel tank. And so once that second fermentation is done, it is filtered and put in the bottles, and there really typically isn't any aging with that. So winemakers will use the tank method for sparkling wines where they don't want those bread toasty notes. They want to maintain the pure fruity character of the sparkling wine or the original base wine. So you would be able to tell the difference in those two methods of making sparkling wine. If you are able to attend an in-person wine workshop, we go into more detail on these topics, and we also talk about the different sugar levels in wine. But if you're not able to, feel free to go do this on your own. If you go to wine-workshops.com and go to the resources page, there's a document called Sparkling Wine Overview. And in there, it talks about the different methods of making sparkling wine, as well as the different sugar levels, and things like dry versus extra dry. And if you go out and get a bottle of cava and a bottle of Prosecco with the same sweetness level, maybe an extra brut, and compare those, see what you might like better. Once you've done that, you can go get sparkling wines from other regions that use each of those methods, maybe with a different sweetness level, and see what you think about that. The key thing to remember is that everybody's preferences are different, and everybody's wine journey is in a different place, and so feel free to experiment and have fun. So that's all for today. We hope to see you soon at a future wine workshop.